Hi everyone, I'm Antje, I'm a trauma healer and medium, and I have been asked why I am becoming a digital nomad. That's what's happening, and it'll start August 31st, so in 9 days. And I wanted to answer that in a video because it's a longer story. It's a longer story. So I did not set out originally to become a digital nomad. That decision just came about 2.5 months ago. Originally, the topic of leaving Germany and living in a different country has been a part in my life since 2009 for 13 years. So this has been a long process to getting where I am now and actually leaving to be a digital nomad. It's not I just made that decision. No. It's 13 years of processing and development. The first time that idea came to me, not just to me but also to my husband back then, was when I got pregnant the first time, because I suddenly got the feeling that I could not give birth in this country. For context, I'm living in Germany. And I was born in Eastern Germany. Now it's one country. So I just had the overwhelming feeling I didn't want to give my children into this system. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with here regarding pregnancy, birth, kindergarten and school system, which have still not changed over the past 13 years. That's something I also had to acknowledge recently. I've been observing it all the time, but it's still not how I would want it. But it's not a topic for me anymore personally. We did not have children. I had 6 miscarriages and my children are all in heaven. That is what made me a medium, and it was meant to be like that. But back then, we also started to observe families, German families, who left the country with their children to travel so that the kids did not have to go into the school system here. And they traveled with them and built their online businesses and lived that way, and are still doing it. And that's the first time I actually came across digital nomads. They didn't call themselves that, but they basically are or were. Some of them have settled now in different countries. I know no one who came back actually to Germany. And over the past 5.5 years after my separation and divorce, I went through an intense healing process, especially trauma healing. That's also what made me a trauma healer. And in the course of the past 2 years, actually in this process, I completely let go of that because I thought it's not a topic anymore. It was always around children. They didn't come. I got divorced. I had the topic of children run through me all through the past 5.5 years again and again and again, but again it was a topic to be released. So I didn't actually expect that leaving Germany would come up again, but it did during the pandemic. So there's one thing that I could not handle at that time. I of course couldn't leave and wasn't ready, and it wasn't possible. But I experienced something that I would not have expected that I would ever experience again, and that was a feeling of fear and being controlled and being shut into borders, which is what I grew up with. I grew up in Eastern Germany in dictatorship under Russians and a German dictator. And there was a lot of fear, and there was a topic of we have to get on with this. In the past 2 years, I even felt worse than that. And I would never have expected that. That was really, really, really bad for me to feel that. And one thing that really triggered me into leaving and actually starting that process that ends now after 9 months of preparation was the discussion of mandatory I'm not using the whole word, you know what I mean, because that's something that's absolutely intolerable for me. I've been spending the past 12 years working with my naturopath and several osteopaths and trauma healers to release all the stuff, all the trauma, all the pain, all the toxins from my body that school medicine put into them in my childhood, in my teenage years, early adult years. And someone else making a decision over my body, wanting to put something in it where I've just achieved healing and I'm the healthiest I've ever been, that's just absolutely a no-go. And that's what triggered the process of actually starting to look, where can I go? If this happens, I will leave. At that time, also, that was actually a past life trauma that came up, having to flee. So that needed to be released. And I also got the basically order from the angels, which I work with them to release that process here in the country and release that topic, which we did. So that thing did not come to pass, but I had initiated the process of leaving. Originally, I wanted to go to Corfu because I know someone there, one of my clients and friends lives there. There's kind of a community. And it turned out that it needs more planning and more preparation, and so I started that process. And originally I wanted to keep this flat and build a new flat share and then just go there and also keep a room. The divine always has different ideas than the mind. It's the summary of the past 9 months. So the flat share turned out to be really horrible, but helped me to release a lot of trauma from my childhood and learn that I've actually, today I have the resources to handle it completely differently. As a child, of course, I couldn't, but today I handle it completely differently. One way of handling it was just cancelling the contract and throwing him out. And at some point I had had enough and I cancelled all contracts by the end of August without knowing where I would go. And I then started getting into testing. Is it a town near here? When I mentioned that to someone who was living there, he told me very clearly he didn't want me to have me there, and that connection cut. I looked into my hometown, Leipzig, visited my parents. They went into their abusive, boundary crossing behaviors that caused all my childhood trauma. I immediately cut off, packed my bags and left. And on the way back in the train, I knew I was done. And I knew I was done with Germany and I was leaving. I came here, I started packing immediately. That was mid-June, 2.5 months ago. I still looked into Corfu back then. And it turned out that there were a few things that I, in the process, needed to become clear about. And I did. So, by trying to find an apartment, I got an offer and was asked to pay a 1,000 and something euro deposit. In that moment, I knew, no, I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm done with that. And that was the moment I decided to not become sedentary again, to not be in one certain place and rent one certain flat, and instead become a digital nomad. Over the time, obviously inside myself, several things had been working themselves through me that in that moment became very apparent. And that is also to do with my being a clearing medium. What does that mean? I have an energy field that clears your energy, that clears the energy of places, that brings up your trauma. I use that in my work with clients. That's where it's beneficial, because it releases the trauma in the moment they talk about it. And it's always beneficial, it's just not always nice for me. Originally, all the stuff got processed through me. That's why I asked the angels to how we can do this differently, to teach me energy clearing. So now my energy field just does it without affecting me. But it affects me when I live in a place where my energy field brings up all the stuff that has been pushed under the carpet from the landlords in the flat that wasn't taken care of and stuff like that. That has been happening in all houses and flats I've been living in, also with my husband. He knows it, my best friend knows it. It always happened when I was in a place longer, and then I have to deal with it, and I'm done with that. I'm honestly done with that. I don't want that anymore. I just want to be able to rent a place that's okay and then leave after 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and whatever happens, I'm gone. That's one piece. The other that came up is one thing that's really important for me is financial relief. I do not want any more financial pressure. And by living here, I have that all the time. There's certain things, requirements, for instance, a health insurance that costs me €500 a month and I can't reduce it. That's the lowest fare. And when I book Nomad insurance, it's €68 per month and includes health insurance, travel insurance, and liability insurance. During the research, I found out that Germany has become really, really, really expensive. And I don't want that anymore. I just don't. I'm doing trauma healing work. It's not something you can do like 9 to 5 every day, 5 days a week. I want to be happy. I want to feel good, relaxed. I also want to meet new people, see new places. All that I have been missing here. And it became very, very apparent and very clear that I want all that. And I didn't get it here, and I don't get it here. So there's financial reasons, there's reasons the system has that's not for me. And I've been seeing even more of that because during the past several months, by clearing out everything that I will not take with me, and including photos, photo albums, gifts from my grandparents who have already passed, their trauma got released through my body. Including the biggest trauma that had also become mine from my grandmother, that had made me shut off my abilities as a 3-year-old child. Now that this trauma is gone, it's also gone for me, and I see patterns and stuff that I haven't seen before. I know things that I didn't trust before, and that literally makes it even worse to stay in this country because I see what it's built upon, a lot of war trauma, and suppressing it and just consuming. And I'm a trauma healer. I can't stay. It's impossible for me to stay in the system and support that suppresses it and medicates it. And it's just, I'm done. I'm just done. I don't say it doesn't exist elsewhere. But here, I can see it, I live in it, and it's really bad for me. So that's another big reason that just came on top of it in the past several weeks. But yeah, the decision really to become a nomad and not sedentary was because I realized I want financial relief. I do not want to be in a fixed place and bring up their stuff and then have to deal with it because I'm living there for a long time. That's a very personal reason, because I'm a clearing medium and that's what my energy field does. And now with researching everything, I can actually choose and set intentions what's okay for me financially. And I find that. And I've booked an apartment that's like, it's fully furnished. And I'm going to, my first station is Bansko, Bulgaria. And I've booked an apartment for €275 per month. So that's a big financial relief. I'm paying 770 at the moment, including utilities. Plus €500 health insurance. So yeah, the reasons are financial relief. I also am in need of seeing new places, meeting new people, and I do not want this clearing. I do not want to be the clearing person for people who ignore what needs changing in their life or in their flat. It's okay when I do that for my clients because I'm getting paid for it, but I'm done with having to do that for people who don't pay me for it. So I just want to, what I've learned is then that self-love and self-care and self-respect is, I do this work and it's okay when I'm happy and when I feel good and when I'm healthy, and I am this body today, after 12 years of working to heal it, is healthier than it has ever been. And that is an important value for me. I do not want to be sick again. And I want to keep it like that. And I will make sure that I do. Those are basically the main reasons. I want to see new people, new places, financial relief, not being the clearing medium for landlords who don't do their duties, and the system that I just can't live with. And that is a whole complex thing. There's tons of pieces in the system that I just can't, I'm not okay with. And that's the reason why I'm leaving. And yeah. So I hope this answers your question. As said, it is complex. If you have any questions for me, just let me know. I'll try to share the journey. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching this. If you would like, please subscribe, please share. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I'm more often. And have a good day. Bye.